welcome back to our third session. Can't wait to show you what we have and hope you all enjoy it. So this is the Cabana Table Runner by Villa Rosa Designs. I just love all their patterns, really great directions, fast little projects. It's a really long table runner, but that's kind of fine. Put your tables or your leaves in your table and it'll just go over it. These are some scraps I had from a quilt I made a few months ago. Very quick and fast, easy to make. It'd be great out of scraps. If you made 2 or 3 of these, sewed them all together, it'd be a perfect quilt even. I use Thermore batting on this because I like the thinness of the Thermore. When you lay this on your table, if something is right on the edge, it's not going to be very thick and things aren't going to tip over on you. I just did some really easy quilting on it, sew the binding on. Just another really quick, fast project where you can use up scraps or just really make it planned out and match your kitchen or whatever. So this is called the Maryland Dress by Serendipity Studios. I love their patterns. I've made quite a few of them now. They turn out perfect every time. They say unleash your inner starlet. So my inner starlet is Minnie Mouse, of course. So there's different sizes on this pattern. They are from extra, extra small to extra, extra large. I made the large and it fits perfect on me. I did adjust the bodice a little bit longer for me, and I made the length a lot longer because they think the average person is 5'4". I'm about 5'9", so I did make it a little bit longer so it's long enough for me to wear to work. They have different variations that you can do on it, and I just thought this piping that they did was just adorable. I tried finding this size of piping so I could make my own. There was none available. So luckily I was at Hobby Lobby one day and they had the pre-made piping, 2 packages. I needed 1 entire package for this, but it turned out perfect and it worked great. And then I just put a little band across the bottom so it's kind of brings it all together. Did an invisible zipper on the back, and where the piping and the visible zipper all meet together matched up perfectly on the first time. I thought that was really amazing. You could easily add pockets to this dress if you want. I know everybody loves pockets in dresses. You can easily do that. The pattern comes in so many sizes, so you do want to make sure you copy it onto Swedish tracing paper so that you can use it again and again in different sizes. It took longer to probably trace it out and figure out what size and cut it out than to make the entire dress, because you only have front and back, this yoke part here, and a skirt. So made it in one evening, did the zipper the next day, got the piping for the next day, and it was all together. So really quick and fast little dress, and it just looks so cute on. So that's the Maryland Dress by Serendipity Studios. This next project is called Hocus Pocus, another project from Claudia's Creations. And it's a little bigger than I thought it was. One of these days I'll learn to read sizing in it. It's 18 by 48, but I think it turned out just way cute. These hats, these witches' hats, are embroidered applique in the hoop. They take about an average of about an hour. This one was like 62 minutes, this one was 48, this one was something in there too. So really fast, relatively speaking, to make it. And on the bottom here, you've got the 3 hats, and then on the bottom it says Hocus Pocus. And I just thought that was so cute. That was about another 50 minutes. I did forget to add my pipe, or these sassing strips. It's supposed to be border all the way around the quilt. Did not realize I hadn't added those in until I was doing my binding. So a little too late at that point to put it on. You can customize this a little bit more by doing some more embroidery projects. There are some spider webs that you can embroider here in the corners. There are some sayings that you can embroider around the edges, like the witch's broom sort of thing, and if the hat fits, wear it. There are bats that you can embroider on here, some candy canes. My fabric was really busy, so I didn't embroider all of those, but you could also use them as your quilting designs too, some of those. But I think it turned out really cute. I did put a little hanger on the back so that we can hang it up at Halloween. Again, I used Thermore batting in it, so it's a nice thin thing. So it's not really thick with Warm and Natural or something. These also would be great just as placemats. Put them together as a table runner, put Hocus Pocus on both ends and do them sideways. It'd be a perfect little table runner. If you're into Harry Potter, kind of makes me think of the Sorting Hat to make a nice little pillow for that. But there's a lot of different things you can do with all these designs. And I think it just turned out really cute. And it wasn't, a forever project, so that was always a good bonus there. So everybody's going to be wearing masks for a while, it looks like, and school is starting back up. So Mallory found this BioSmart fabric. She cut it up into fat quarters, so you can purchase it at the stores, or the Aurora store will have yardage, so you can buy a whole yard of it. It's 60-inch wide fabric, so your fat quarter is going to be 30 inches by 18, and it's to make the mask. And Creative Grids has a template now for masks, so it makes it easier to cut out. There are 3 sizes in here. You can put a pleat in if you want it. This is the smaller size, and Mallory put the little pony beads on it so the kids can adjust it to whatever works for them. Mallory's little guy is 6, almost 7. She said this is still a little bit big for him, but he is kind of a smaller little guy. So, kind of adjust it to whatever size you need. So this is a small. These are the mediums. And she did put a pleat in here. And then this is the large. And she just did these with the elastic. We do have for you, we know it's been really hard to find, but a 1/4 inch bias tape maker. We have those, so you can make the bias tape like Mallory did with these. And it goes a little faster and it's easier than finding elastic. The bio fabric is, you can make your mask with these, 2 layers of it. You wash it with a little bit of chlorine bleach, and it's supposed to knock out all bacteria, 99% of the bacteria that can come through. It is treated so the bleach will not fade the fabrics. So it's very interesting. You can go online and check out what the BioSmart fabric, what it's actually, all the information about it. But very interesting, and you can buy it in a fat quarter pack like that. It's going to be about $15.99-ish, or the Aurora store has it in yardage if you want to go there too. This next pattern is called Showering Stars. I love the pattern. When I saw it, I'm like, oh, I need to do this. I love star quilts. I like how it looks a lot of scrappy looking here. You actually use a jelly roll, which was nice. Makes it easy. The jelly roll we ordered in for you is called Moongate by Maywood Studios. At first I wasn't wild about it. I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice. It looks great. But when I put it into the quilt, I think it looks amazing. It's a lot bigger than I thought. Again, I never read the sizes of anything. I just start making things. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 92 inches long, but perfect for a bed. When you're making it, you do have to pay attention to the patterns. You have 4 different stars here, different colors, so that kind of helped with the color scheme. You kind of like, these are the A, B, C, D blocks, all that kind of thing. But we do have these nice little alphabetties. They are by That's So Emma, which her stuff is so cute. You clip your A, B, C, D blocks, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different rows, and they have all these little alphabet tiles for you to clip onto your piles of fabric so you don't get confused, because I got confused a few times, and then you have to rearrange everything and figure out what you're making. So use these and it'll help you keep track of everything a lot. When you make this, you will have some leftover jelly roll strips, quite a few of them. It would be great to make a table runner out of this. You have plenty of fabrics to make this little strip into a table runner, and it would just look adorable with it. Just add a couple of borders around it and it'll be perfect. Or you can make almost one more quilt with your leftover fabrics from this. So that's awesome. So this next quilt is called Side Lights. It's by Mountain Peak Creations, who is part of Holly's Quilt Cabin, which we love their store. This panel is from them. So you use a panel, and make a quilt with it. So I saw this panel in their store and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to make this quilt. The whole finished quilt is 46 by 62. When you're making this quilt, your panel needs to be a certain size. I trimmed mine as much as I could. I barely even have the little ladies in here in the corner. I couldn't really go much smaller because it would cut off this part here. And my panel was a lot bigger than their panel that they used was. So I had to add a little bit of fabric here on the top. You're not really going to notice it, but just be aware either your panel might not be the same size as theirs, so you might have to adjust the measurements of everything to get it correct. So I bought the panel at Holly's Quilt Cabin. I bought this rest of the fabric at Trilata. And I just love this quilt. It went together super easy. They actually, in the pattern, have you use a different fabric for these squares. I'm like, yeah, I don't have that much fabric that matches. We're just going on with one fabric. And then I just love this Paris fabric on the sides. So I did some easy quilting on it. And then I did a piped binding. So the way you do that is, or flange binding, is you make your flange part 1 5/8 inches wide. Your binding part is 1 3/8 inches wide. Iron it towards the binding part. Then you fold it in half. Then you sew it onto the back of your quilt this way, so that the binding part goes onto the back of the quilt. You flip it over, and then you have that little flange there. Then you use your, on the FOF it's called the narrow edge foot, and you stitch right in the ditch along the edge. And number one, you don't have to do it by hand, which is always a selling point, and it just gives it a little extra pop of color all around the edges. So it's the flange binding. So the biggest thing is, the flange part is 1 5/8 inches, and the binding part is 1 3/8 inches. That's the biggest thing you got to remember. And if you search through our blogs, there are specific directions on how to make your flange binding. And that's how it turned out. So I think it looked pretty cool. So that's all we have this month for August 2020. Thanks for watching. I'm going to take a trip to Paris with all my new bags. Au revoir.